A severe drought is sweeping across the Horn of Africa and is now placing about 13 million people at risk of starvation. This is happening just over a year since the region experienced months of flooding, which affected an estimated 3 million people directly. The effects of this now familiar pattern have been devastating and points to a lack of preparedness nationally and at the community level. But now something is being done in the region and across the continent.
Council of the Ministers with the Member States sat and said we need to have a disaster operations center based in Nairobi, which will focus mainly on early warning systems. So that gave birth to establishment in this office so that we look at a broader aspect of different disasters within the region.
The Situation Room, located at the IGAD Climate Prediction and Application Centre in Ngong, collects and analyzes different sets of data to paint a picture of the current situation in the Eastern Horn of Africa region and offer advice or alerts to governments.
The system works automatically so that it ingests in the data set. Algorithm is set within the cluster. We have a supercomputing system within ICPAC. So there's less human attachment to it. It's also near real time, so it's every 10 days. It updates itself and we see the conditions of drought. This region of Ethiopia, actually we have so many people who are affected and moving out of this area.
The center, which opened in October 2021, is part of early warning institutions situated in different regional blocks across the continent, meant to provide timely and reliable climate information to make the continent more resilient to weather-related hazards.
Over the years, we have seen disasters increasingly becoming borderless. You have one hazard, like flood or cyclone, affecting more than one country at the same time. But even when that hazard is localized, the intensity easily overwhelmed national response. And in this situation, the Pan-African solidarity is required. And therefore, having this situation room is going to facilitate that African solidarity. But also, Africa will not always be, looking inward. We will also be required to respond beyond African borders, where will be needed. We are part of a global community, and we may respond as Africa to global crisis. So this situation room will also facilitate that aspiration.
When you go to a disaster-struck, a community that's stricken by a disaster, they're the first responders. It's not the governments who are sitting in the capital or international rescue teams coming from abroad. They'll take 24 to 48 hours, and by that time a lot of lives would be lost. So we must equip the communities themselves to be able to respond to a disaster in its first hours at least. And so I think we owe it to them to set up this early warning system and ensure that it's functional and that people who are vulnerable to disasters are able to access that information in a timely way to save lives and property.
A partnership between the African Union and the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR, working with regional climate prediction and application centers, will see such situation rooms established in all the regional blocks of the continent. 2 others have already been established in Addis, Ethiopia, at the African Union headquarters, and in Niamey, Niger. An efficient science-led early warning system is only the beginning. The project now seeks to improve early action to make all the investment count in limiting the impacts of extreme weather on the continent. For Climate Focus, I am David Owino in Nairobi.